Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and today we're gonna continue working on handling our form data, which eventually yesterday we finally got the file upload to work. So it took a while, but we kept at it and it worked out. So I was really happy about that. Going a little earlier than normal today, so I'll have to finish this up in about an hour and a half. So a little bit shorter than I've streamed that I've been doing lately. So probably the code portion will finish up in an hour, and then after that we can do like a half-hour question and answer, and then we'll be done for the day and for the weekend. But we'll see how much we can get done with this. I want to show you some of the changes. So I had some pull requests, and so we changed a bit. If you want to look in the repository, let's see, let me bring over the files changed here. So this will be easier to see what actually changed. So Patrick submitted a pull request. I also got another pull request from Kevin, but it ended up they were doing a lot of the same things. So ended up just pulling in Patrick's request because it had a few extra things, and it was just a lot easier to pull in one than to try to merge. So thank you to both of you for submitting these. So basically we have Nodemon. I've read like so many different ways to pronounce this, but I'm going to say Nodemon. So we have that now, and that's gonna like watch our new like custom server, so that we can change stuff in our server, and it should auto reload. So we have some new things like in our scripts here. So different ways we're starting the server, and this start server gets called when we run start. So the normal start command has a little bit extra on it now, and what actually ends up happening is it runs our normal server that we've been running since we started this project on port 3000, and then it runs the other one that we just made yesterday on port 9000, or whatever port we set it to. And that's kind of nice because yesterday we were like kind of having to manually start it. Now it's just one command, it starts them both, and then that way we can go back and forth. We still have all the benefits basically of both of them, really without any extra work. So there's a lot of other stuff here you can see, like a lot of variables added, which is nice. And I'll definitely probably have to add some more in as well when we start working with our APIs. But you can check more of that out if you want. Let's see, and Patrick also put in some explanation as well, so that is available in the repository. Also, I accidentally merged this into master instead of custom server, so our custom server branch and our master branch are now the same. Now I'm still going to do any new stuff in our custom server branch, but I don't know what I was thinking, and I didn't realize it until it didn't say that the pull request was merged, and I'm like, what the heck, I know I merged this, and then it hit me that I did it on the wrong branch. So after that I decided to get some caffeine. But other than that, there's not really been not really any changes. Oh, I did add one thing. Let me show you. So this is where I ended up at, basically. I added this on... Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I have my secondary stream on Instagram, but for some reason my phone keeps falling down. So I don't know why. Every other day it stays like perfectly where I want it, but today it's falling down. So anyway, so I added this part here. So I was just kind of looking through the repository on GitHub for Node Formidable, and looking through their examples, trying to see how they do things. And I found this, and I thought, oh, well, this would be cool. At least we can see if all our fields are coming through and how it looks. So now we know that we can get all our fields here and do what we need to with them within here. So right now we're just logging them, but this is basically what I want to work on today. Probably, let's see. I don't know if I'll do that much more with the uploads right now. At some point, I would like to add in like some security features to, let's say, block out potentially malicious files. So I'm not sure if I want to get into that today or not. I probably want to do a little bit more research. I had added some things in a previous project, some security features, but I could probably do a better job if I spent some more time researching it. So if any of you have any ideas or any experience with that, please let me know. But otherwise, we're going to work on handling this. So we need to grab this. We need to do a couple of things with this data. So we need to email. We need to send 2 emails. One email to our project manager here in my department, and then we need to send another email to the user, and then we need to send the data to our project management system through their API. When we do that, we're going to get some information back, and that's going to include a project ID number, and then we need to use that project ID number to send the files and attach them to that project. I think that's all we need. Yeah, I think that's all we need. In the current version of this, we're also sending data to a Google Sheet, but I don't know if I want to do that. I may, I don't know. I'll think about that. It's always nice to have another backup, but I'm not sure if I want to. I kind of want to set up some sort of database to keep track instead of using the Google Sheet. It might be overkill for this project, but it's something I'd like to learn how to do and will possibly be using in future projects, so it might not be a bad idea to try it on this project. I mean, this project has a very limited internal audience, so the stakes are not very high. Let's say if this crashed and I didn't do it right. I mean, I'm not saying, but worst case scenario, if it crashed and we lost a bunch of data, all we'd have to do is just call up the people who submitted, their requests and ask them to tell us what they wanted again, right? So I feel like it's better to try out something new on a project like this than to try it out on, let's say, something that an external audience would be using, a lot more people would be using. It would be more of a big deal if it messed up. So let me know what you think about that. I mean, maybe I'm off with my reasoning here, but so we'll see. So we'll basically postpone the decision about whether or not to back up to a Google Sheet, to use a database, or just to not do anything. And we don't really need to make that decision now, but just to let you know what I'm thinking, and maybe you all can think about it and let me know. I'm gonna go just say hi to everyone now in the live chat. Hey everybody. Okay, cool. So my pronunciation of Nodemon is not so strange. John B says, "Are you sure you don't pronounce it as 'I choose you, Nodemon,' like it's a Pokemon?" That's pretty funny. My kids are really into Pokemon right now. I'm gonna have to tell them. I'm gonna have to make up some sort of dad joke about that and tell them later on, and they probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but they'll still laugh because they're good kids. Okay, cool. Kevin says, that seems cool. With both servers started, you can test that the file upload actually creates a file without losing hot reloading while making changes. Yeah, actually that's, that was exactly it. So right before I started the stream, I was just testing it out, and that was kind of like the deal breaker. I was like, wow, that is really useful. Rohan asks, where's the file go? Okay, and Kevin says it's in the uploads folder. Yeah, so the file right now obviously is just saved locally, but it'll be saved, on our server at some point. And let's see. Okay, so we have some talk about the database here. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm not really sure what I'm going to use yet. So what do you all think? It looks like Rowan says RDBMS. All right, I'm not familiar with that. What is that? Okay, Bavik says Firebase. Okay, cool. Yeah, actually, I've heard of Firebase. I've not used it. So yeah, I'm not. Anyway, I'm still open. I'm still open to it. I was researching some. Oh, okay. So thank you. It's Relational Database Management System. Oh, okay. So. Okay, so we're talking SQL versus NoSQL databases, right? Is that so? SQL being the relational database. I think I get it now. I get it. I'm not like I have very limited experience with databases. Basically, just like troubleshooting a WordPress database if it gets messed up, and that's the extent of my experience. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was kind of thinking of going with something like a NoSQL database, since like my very limited database experience has been with SQL databases and with WordPress. So I thought like, hey, well, why don't I try something like NoSQL? So I'm not really sure. Like I said, I have no idea what direction to go with this, so I'm open to suggestions. Whatever I go with, to just something really lightweight and simple to start out with. I don't need a lot for this project. I think it would be better to start out with something simple, just to get used to it, and for later projects, if I need to move on to something a little bit more involved, then that's cool. Okay, cool. Kevin sent me the link to a project that he did with a database. So I'm gonna copy that and check that out later on. Put it in my list of things, my big list of things pasted. Okay, I figured out why my phone is falling over today now. It's vibrating when I get messages, and then after I get so many messages in a row, it just vibrates right off of where I have it sitting. So that's why. And I need to, this is already in there now, so I don't need that. I think we've used this already. I don't need that. We've used this. We've used this. Okay, we've basically done this. Okay. Clean up my little copy and paste file there. There we go. Now we have plenty of space. Let me know if the text is too small on this. I think I left it the same size as I had it for the video yesterday. But if it's too small, I could definitely make it bigger. I saw one question in here that I want to answer before I start the coding, so I don't forget. Okay, it was Tyler. So Tyler asked, the college near me just opened up a 24-week boot camp. What's your opinion on colleges opening up boot camps? Do you think they are worth it? I don't really know. I don't have experience with colleges opening up boot camps. So my experience with colleges in computer science in general has been they're usually behind. So wherever the industry is, they're like a couple years back at least. My guess at the reasons for that are just there's not really very much incentive for professors to stay on top of things, right? Because the way it's structured, you set up your courses, you get your course materials approved, and then you can teach the class without necessarily having to update it that much. You get used to a certain textbook. You have all your tests and everything around there. So it's just like this. The way it's set up is it makes it really easy to keep teaching the same stuff over and over again, and really difficult to try to do new stuff. So having said that, I would be a little skeptical of a boot camp put on by a university. And I mean, I work at a university, so I'm definitely not anti-university in general. But I would be skeptical. It would just depend on like who's actually doing the teaching and who's putting it on. Like, are the people doing the teaching like people who are actually building real stuff, in the industry, cutting edge stuff, and they're just kind of partnering with the university to have some credibility, or is it actually like university professors that are putting this on? And I'm not saying all universities are like that or all professors are teaching, kind of older stuff, but that's just been my experience just in general. I mean, there are definitely universities that are on the cutting edge, like near where I'm at, Carnegie Mellon is really good. They're on the cutting edge. Tech companies hire people, professors and graduates, like right away from Carnegie Mellon all the time. So I guess it just depends on the school. But I would check, if you can, try to check out who the teachers are and see like, do they have a GitHub profile? What kind of stuff are they doing? That's what I would look at to determine, whether or not it's worth it. Rohan says, when I said they're a couple of years behind, he said try about a decade. I was trying to be nice, and I'm not like. I've spoken with like some of the professors here at my university, and basically like their mindset is. It's not really like possible for them to stay on the cutting edge and still keep up with like the load of courses that they're expected to teach to be full-time professor. So instead, like they're trying to just give them the fundamentals of computer science and not try to do anything that's cutting edge. So it may not even be their goal to try to teach new stuff. They're trying to teach them, good logic and problem solving, and that's cool. And then they do it in sometimes really old languages. Like they might use COBOL here actually. I know like at the university that I went to, I did take one computer science course and it was in C++. So even really good courses use really old languages sometimes. Like the Harvard Computer Science Intro to Computer Science course starts out with C. They do a lot of other languages too. So Anyway, that's just kind of would be my reservations about doing it. So it could be really good. You just need to do a little bit of research on who's teaching it. Okay, I'm gonna grab one more thing from the live chat to copy and paste here, and then we'll get started. Okay, John B says maybe go with a SQLite database. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I was kind of leaning towards a NoSQL database, but I really don't have, I don't really know enough about it to know what would be better. So I'm definitely relying on your suggestions here. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. So first thing we're gonna do, I guess, is maybe we'll try to send the email. That seems like a better thing to do. If I can't do everything during the stream, it makes more sense to do the email thing during the stream than to do the send it to project management, because like for the use case of sending an email, that's really, really common. So it will probably be useful to more people watching this or watching the recording. I don't know how many people use our particular project management system, so it may not be as useful to learn the specifics of that particular API. So, I mean, ideally I'd do them both on a stream, but it may not work out like that. So let's just try to do the email thing first. I have used... Let's see, what am I using right now? Let me check. On my other screen, I have the file. It's a private repository right now, so I can't share it because there's some API keys and things. I don't want to see what I'm using because I think I'm using email.js. I'm pretty sure that's what I used. So let me know if you all have any email clients that you really like. Let me know. Like I said, I'm currently using email.js. Where is it at? I even tried to clean up all my tabs in Windows before the stream, and it's still like a lot of stuff. Look, I just have a lot of GitHub stuff open, and it all looks the same. You know, it's all just a bunch of code when I go in. Alright, well, I'm just going to go into my GitHub profile and find it again, and that will be faster. I feel legit now that I have so many repositories that I'm using the repository search function on GitHub. So I don't know, that makes me feel like, hey, you got a lot of stuff on here. There we go. I couldn't remember what I named the original repository. So, and this one's, I'm really glad this is a private repository because it's a mess. I don't want anybody to see it. Alright, let's see. Yeah, and it's really like the organization of this repository is just, it's really, I don't even like to look at it. It's making me feel bad just looking at it right now. But this was I think I started working on this almost 2 years ago, so I've come a long way. Alright, so basically, I'm sorry I can't show you this, but I don't want to show my API keys to the world. but all I'm doing is just trying to find my API keys for the email and verify that I am actually using the email system that I think I'm using. Also, I'd like to see the format that I'm sending this data in currently. And so my old project, I was using Ajax. There we go. Okay. Alright, so I'm using, it looks like I'm using email.js, but it's going through SendGrid. The reason I went with email.js is because I needed something that worked client side. It was just like I had no access to any backend stuff, and so anything I did had to be client side. So email.js ended up being the only thing I could find that would let me send things client side. So I don't need to keep using it. I could probably just use SendGrid directly. Okay. Okay, maybe I don't even have a key. I can't. Let's look at email.js. In case you're not familiar with it. Okay, this is how to source ID, template ID. Okay, yeah. So this is. I'm sorry. This is all coming back to me now. I set this up a while ago. Yeah. So this was a way for me to get around. So like SendGrid would not let me send emails client side. So this was like a workaround for that, where I don't even actually send any API keys or anything. You just literally, it's just this. Like it's this simple, and then the actual information for the SendGrid API is saved, on the site. So I'd log in and have that there, and then I can build my email template within this. Okay. So I probably won't need to do this anymore. So I might just cut this out because this is just one more step in the process that's not necessary. So I did like this. This works really well. But don't really need it. So I guess I'm gonna go straight with SendGrid. So I'll have to, let's look up their documentation then. Alright, let's check out. Awesome. So there's a SendGrid Node.js client. Awesome. So we'll check API key. Okay, cool. Okay, not bad. It's not like super up to date, but it's within the last year they've updated this, so this looks promising. Okay, let's just try to do something basic just to see, what we can send. So, alright, so first things first, let's add SendGrid to our project. And I'll be bringing their documentation back and forth as we need it. Okay. So we're just adding SendGrid to our project. Alright, while that's working, I'll check the live chat. Okay, back to the coding bootcamp thing. Tyler says, completely agree with you in regard that most colleges are behind in terms of computer science, but looking at the curriculum of this, it seems pretty solid. They teach MERN-stack and even jump into Angular and Firebase. Can't find out who's teaching, but it's a hard situation to jump into considering it's 10K. Okay, sounds like they work with Trinity. Never heard of them. Okay, yeah. I mean, that is cool. They're obviously using some newer stuff. But yeah, 10K, that's... Like, just to put it in perspective as far as 10K, like, when you count, like, the scholarships and grants and stuff that I got, I didn't pay 10K for my entire bachelor's degree. So, and that's probably even if you include everything I had to pay for books. So, 10K for a coding boot camp where you're not even going to get a degree, that's a lot. So, I mean, I would want... I don't know. For me to do it, I would have to have some serious proof that this is going to be awesome and that companies are going to recognize how good this is on a resume. That you're going to, build things that are really great for your portfolio. That's just, like, that's a lot of money. Like, who has 10K to just do that, I mean, normally, like, people take out a loan for that and stuff, so it's gonna be more than 10K when you end up paying it all back. Yeah, that's just a lot. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at too. Like, if you have the money and that's cool, go ahead. I'd be really wary of doing that if I had to borrow. Um, Yeah, I mean, just check out. There's so many other options that are less expensive that potentially could work out. I mean, depending on what kind of learner you are. Okay. Okay, cool, awesome. So, Kevin, you like guessed what I was thinking a minute ago. So I was looking at this, and I'm sure obviously you all saw it was on the screen. I was just kind of going through this and looking, and what I was thinking was, wow, look at all these vars. They need to be const, and look at all these semicolons. And so Kevin wrote in the live chat here, Jesse, if you copy code with a lot of semicolons and var, you can use npm run lint to autofix some code styling issues. So exactly what I was thinking. I guess it's not. I mean, it's not really a big deal. I can always just use like control find to get rid of stuff. But that was cool that you knew what it was going through my mind when I saw that. I wonder if projects because I've been seeing a lot like trying to look through different things for file uploads and email things, I've seen a lot of the documentation uses this. I wonder if that would be a good opportunity to get some pull requests in to just switch the examples to use, even just to use const. I mean, we'll leave the semicolons alone to not bring up the whole debate over whether or not you should use them, but I don't know, maybe updating it a bit just to use ES6, because that's, I mean, even like browsers support const like right out off the bat, right? I don't really know. I mean, because I always use a transpiler. But it's just so common now. You would think like you may as well just switch over to it. All right. Let's try this out. So within let's just require SendGrid. So I'm not gonna copy over everything, because a lot of the stuff they have there, actually I might need to. Yeah, I'll need to copy more. At first I thought they were just saving a lot of things to variables and using them later, but they're not. They're actually creating like new helpers and stuff. So okay, so I'll have to copy more over. Alright, I guess I'll just copy the whole thing. Copy the whole thing, and then we can rearrange it as needed. So let's run that. What was that? What do I need to run? Lint. Okay. Let's see. Actually, I'm not sure that went over our server. Did it? Yeah, it did. Okay, it did first. Why didn't it? Okay, not really sure what happened, but not a big deal. Let's just change them. Okay, so anyway, I see in the live chat, so Tyler, I see like the conversation is still going on about the boot camp. I'll come back to that whenever my timer is up here, so I haven't forgot about it. I just want to try some stuff out here. Okay, so let's see what we have. To email from email. Alright, so let's change this to my email so I can get the email. Alright, so we have, I'll leave the subject and content as is now, but we'll see. If it ends up being a pain, I'm definitely changing this this content. So right now it says sending with SendGrid is fun and easy to do anywhere. So may not be true. We'll see. Alright. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. I just want to make sure it sends first. If we can get it to send, then I'll actually make the content be, what we're collecting from this form. Okay, and this part of it, I guess, is what... Wait, which part actually sends it? Okay, this is the part that actually sends it. Yeah. So let's put this part inside here, because this is where we're going to end up doing this anyway. So we'll just put it inside here for now. At some point, maybe we'll want to clean this up, because this server.js is going to end up being pretty long once we do everything that we're probably going to need to do. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it. So we need an API key. So let me log into my SendGrid account on my other screen. Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to make a new API key just for testing. Actually, I might, let's see. Access. Okay, the way you can customize the access that the API key has. Actually, let's see. So this would be a good time for me to learn this. So I know that normally when you have API keys like this, you want to put them in a separate file that doesn't get synced to your repo. And then you just pull those environment variables from there. So that's what I want to do. But I actually have never done that before because normally it's like I'm not collaborating with people on projects, so I just have private repos and it doesn't really matter about the keys. So let's do that. So it's like a .m file. I think that's, let's check this out. Alright, so on my other screen, I just brought up how to do this. Okay, so let's first make sure .env is in our, yeah, okay. So it's already in there, so we're good. Although, actually, I wonder if these files are already being used by Create React App. Maybe. Okay. Alright, so let me bring this over, let everyone see what I'm working on. Okay, so as I said, all I'm trying to do is have a file where I can put the API keys that I need to use so that we can work on this and I can put it on YouTube and not have to worry about giving out any API keys. So this is saying I need to install .env if I don't already have it, which I might. I'm not sure. Are we using this? Okay, maybe not. I don't have it. So I can do this and store my content. So sample increase, store it in a .env file. And just put the keys in there. Alright, does that seem like the way it's supposed to? It's already set up? Okay, cool. Alright, that's what I was wondering. So Patrick says it's already set up. Yeah. I was hoping you would say that, and I kind of thought that you might have done that. Just put it on info. I set that up to work in server.js. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you, Patrick. Alright, so I don't need this. Patrick already set it up. So basically, I just need the .env file, and we're good. We're good to go. Cool. And actually, now that you say that, did you put something in GitHub already explaining that to me, and I just forgot it already, even though I read it this morning? If that's so, sorry about that. Alright, well, anyway, my timer just stopped, so I did say I'd go back, so I do want to answer some of the questions that were just in there. So 5-minute break. I'm going to answer some stuff in the live chat. We'll come back to it. We'll set up our API keys and test out mailing with SendGrid. Okay, so to go back to, I want to go back to this conversation we were having about coding boot camps, because I mean, I imagine this might be a useful thing to talk about for people who watch this. So Tyler says, I agree, Jesse. $10,000 is a lot to me. Does name recognition mean anything? The UMN is considered a top school, so I'm UMN, probably University of. Yeah, what is UMN? Is this like Minnesota or not? So I'm not sure. Well, anyway, it's considered a top school, and it's highly recognized by local employers, so that's another factor I was considering. Okay, yeah, well, that's what. Yeah, take that into consideration. So I think I'd mentioned, like, our company's gonna respect this, boot camp certification or whatever you're gonna get when you do the boot camp. And if the answer is yes, then that's awesome, and that's another reason maybe why you should do it. Of course, that depends on like what company do you want to work at, and does that company recognize it or not. So that that really depends on what you want to do. Oh wow, John B said Internet Explorer 11 supports const. So wow, I didn't even realize it went that far back. So that's really cool. Okay, and Patrick brought up so the bootcamp will probably be partnering with local businesses to help you find a job. So yeah, that's actually a good point. You maybe check into what they have, like what kind of help they'll actually give you to try to find a job. After you complete the boot camp, that might be really valuable. Maybe if there's any numbers about like how many people actually find jobs, within, let's say, like 6 months after completing it. If the percentage is really high, then it could be worth it. I mean, then it could be a good investment where you could say like, okay, I'm going to spend 10,000 now, but within a year, I'm going to have a job with a salary that's probably going to be, I don't know, way more than that. So it could be worth it. Okay, Kevin asks, any ideas on how to get some title or experience in Colombia if I just graduated in an unrelated engineering degree? Um, I would say you could do a few things. So obviously, like you got to build up your portfolio, um, and you probably build up like your reputation in the industry. Uh, Possibly the quickest way is if you could contribute to some open source projects that are popular. Then you might get more attention from companies who use that product. Uh, Also, like freelancing is a good way to make money and build your portfolio at the same time, as long as you can find projects that are good. Sometimes there's a lot of freelancing jobs out there that aren't really going to challenge your skills or be that impressive in your portfolio, so that's good to pay the bills, but you might not even want to put it on your portfolio. So that would be what I would say. I mean, it depends on what's going on where you're at. If there are different coding meetups or conferences or things that you could go to, that's a good way to network and just have people, get to know who you are and what you're into, what projects you're working on, and then that might be an in. So if you meet somebody from a company and then you find out there's a job open, then you could get in touch with that person, let them know you're going to apply. They could put in a good word. That really goes a long way for getting hired, because it's a big decision to hire somebody, and if somebody inside your organization that you already trust can vouch for them and say, yeah, I know this guy, he's a good guy, he knows what he's talking about, that could help. So anyway, all those things will probably help. Can't really say if any one of them will be the thing that really gets you to where you want to be. But just working like a little bit at a time, as you can on all of them will be probably a pretty sure plan that at some point you'll build up your reputation, get a decent job. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to this, and I just saw Patrick wrote, so dot and so comes with create React app, and so Patrick just required it in server.js. Okay, I thought that I had seen it in the pull request, so let's see, is it required? Yeah, there we go. So it was in there the whole time, and I don't know. I don't even have to say it anymore. Like I look like an idiot so many times in this stream. Like it should not be surprising to anyone anymore. But that's how it is sometimes. Okay, so Kevin said thanks for the advice. So he also said I'm awesome. So I just wanted to read that part out since I just said that I look like an idiot. So uh, anyway, thanks for saying that, Kevin. Yeah, I really hope that the some of that advice will be helpful to you. Um, it's what did I read something the other day. It was really funny. I don't remember where it was at, but it was something um, like listening to like a successful like founder of a startup company talk about how they did it is basically like listening to a lottery winner telling you what numbers they used. So it was kind of funny, a little bit extreme, but it was funny because you're basically saying like, there's so many things that go into success. You can't really just follow exactly what someone else did. So that's why it's somewhat hard to give advice, because I could say like, well, here's what worked for me. That may or may not work because my situation and all the factors that went into, what's happened to me are probably not going to be replicated. So I don't agree that it's exactly like a lottery. I think you can take, good things, away from anybody's story. But it was funny because it did kind of illustrate like, yeah, I mean, uh, it's really hard to say like do this and this and you can replicate someone's success. Uh, but anyway, I think the advice that I gave is pretty general enough that it can apply in a lot of different situations and possibly be helpful. So anyway, but Kevin, let me know how things are going too. If you ever have any like more like specific questions or anything, feel free to get in touch with me like on Twitter or wherever. And I'd be happy to help out. Like you've helped out me on so many of my projects. Like I'd be super happy to help you out with anything you need. John B said, "An awesome idiot." That's it. uh, yeah. Honestly, like, legitimately, like I don't want to. I get down on myself a lot. I don't want you all to think that I don't really think I'm an idiot. I just think I make silly mistakes sometimes on when I'm recording. So I actually have good self-esteem. So don't worry about me. That's why I can say that and still smile and be happy about it, because I really do uh, have decent self-esteem. So I'm not phased at all by messing up and calling myself an idiot. Okay. So we already have, uh, thanks to Patrick, we have the .m already required. So that's great. So we need to create the .m file, and then I can pull in my API key that I was starting to set up on my other screen from SendGrid. And that'll be cool because we'll need some API keys for at least one other thing we're going to do, maybe more depending on how much we want to set up. Let me check the time as well. Okay. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can to just do a test and get this working, and then we'll do a question and answer. And that way, yeah, because I need maybe about like a half hour. Definitely want to try to wrap things up in about a half an hour. Okay. All right. So when I set up, where's my console? So step one, let's actually like create the file. Here we go. Okay, so here's our file, and I'll set up as much as I can without revealing the API key. At some point, I will have to move this to my other screen. What should I name this? That'll be easiest. I'm trying to see what it's already. There we go. So what are they calling this? SendGrid API key. That's straightforward enough. Okay, so basically at this point I'm going to move this over. I'm going to put the API key in, but just for demonstration, so this is how you would set this up, correct? Let's see. Okay, Patrick's saying do echo SendGrid API key equals your key val. Oh, okay. So Patrick, you're saying I could just do that in the command line and it would put it in there for me. But I'm like, I could do it like this as well, correct? Mukhtar says, "Hey Jesse, I'm watching from Sierra Leone, first time to catch it live, and I'm enjoying it. Awesome! I'm glad you could catch this live. That's really cool. Thanks for watching. So, all right, cool. So let me move." Briefly, I'm just going to move this over and then try to remember to never show it again so I don't have to change all my API keys. And then now I'm going to go into SendGrid and set this up. Oops, got to give it a name. Okay. Alright, so we have our API key in our .env file. So now this should give us the correct API key. And let's see. I want to double check to make sure I don't have to do anything else to make this work. It looks like it's good. Yeah. Okay, so that should be, in terms of on the SendGrid admin panel, that should be everything I need to do. So now, I think we can do it. I think we can try it. Alright, so save this. Where we're at, let's go to 9,000. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. And I don't really need, actually I'm going to fill a little bit of this out just to, because I don't think I demonstrated my awesome console log that I put in here. Also, if you didn't see yesterday, if you didn't see this in action, we'll show that again. So I'm going to submit, and whoa, a lot of stuff going on here. What? A lot more stuff than I thought I'd have. Okay, so anyway, this is obviously, like, these are all our keys and values for our all our inputs, right? And then what happened here? So I'm not sure what all that is. Oh man. Now I know what it all is. I did the call. So anyway, it worked. I just got spammed with a ton of emails though. Because I put the actual the part of it that sends the email, I put it in here, forgetting that this goes through all the different fields. So this ran for every field. So anyway, it works. It works. I got the emails. I just need to not put it in there. So let's see. Where would be a better place to put this? I guess I could just put it anywhere within here. Will run as soon as this is as soon as a post request is sent to uploads. Anything in here should run, right? So if I put this in here, it should work. I'll just test it, and I don't need to put anything in here. Let's just submit. It should submit. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that worked once. Awesome. And I know on my phone I saw I got a ton of messages to my Gmail account. So hopefully I didn't just like get my SendGrid account marked as spam by Gmail. That would be bad. Let's see. Sorry if there was just a bunch of static. I just had my phone right next to the mic. I didn't even realize it. So sorry about that. Okay, cool. So we have so anyway, we've successfully sent an email using SendGrid from our server.js file on form submission. We've set up a .m file so that we can keep our API key secret. We're not committing that, so we've added it to our gitignore file. So we are being very sneaky and secret, which is good for this. Yeah, so the next step would be, which I'm not going to do the next step right now because I've got to do a shorter stream today, but the next step, which may or may not be on Monday's stream, depending on how much time I have to work on it, is going to be not just sending this, where's it at? Whatever we were sending, this default text which says SendGrid is fun. Sending with SendGrid is fun and easy to do anywhere. And actually that was true. This was pretty easy and fun, so we'll leave it in there. But what we're going to do is replace the subject and the content with probably the subject will say something like submission received from and then the person's email address. Our to email is going to be, we're actually going to have two, so it's going to be the email of our project manager and the email of the person who submitted it. The from email will be, I don't know, probably our project manager's email. And then the content will actually be all the values that were submitted in the form, so everything that was put in there. And so that'll be it for the emails. Next step will then be hooking this up to our API, and then after that, potentially setting up some sort of database. All right, so I'll take this. I'll make sure that I push all this up to GitHub on the what branch are we on? On the custom server branch. So we'll push it all up to custom server branch. So you'll be able. Obviously, you can't test out the email unless you want to make your own SendGrid account and put in your own API key, which I'm just using the free version right now, which is plenty for this. So if you want to test it out, there's a free version. It's really easy to use. Okay, now let's go to the live chat. Actually, Kevin said, shouldn't it be form.onEnd? Let's see. Yeah, probably. Kevin, you're probably right. I'm not really familiar with how things work with Formidable. So I was reading their documentation, but I didn't get very far through it before this video. So that makes sense that that's what it would be. So probably we'll move that. So let me. I'll work on that. Actually, yeah, I want to get to your question, so I'll work on that later on then. Because if I get into that now, then I'm never gonna be able to get through all the questions. Okay, so now if you're just interested in the code part, that part is over. I'm gonna do some questions and answers now. So if you're gonna quit watching at this point, that's cool. Thanks for watching. I'll be back on Monday. Otherwise, if you have a question, put it in the live chat now. I'll do my best to get to all the questions. If I happen to accidentally skip over your question, or if you can't stick around to hear the answer, please put it in the comments or direct message me on Twitter or some other social media platform. Okay, so I've scrolled all the way up to the top of the chat, so I'm going to try not to miss anything. Okay, so Tyler, we were talking about code boot camps and things, and Tyler asked, any specific recommendations in the Midwest particularly? Yeah, I don't know of anything in particular in the Midwest, so sorry I can't give you any advice in that area. Patrick says there's iron something in Colorado. Let's see. Okay, and it looks like if it was Iron Yard, they shut down. Yeah, I remember seeing that on Twitter. Okay, John B says General Assembly seems to be the highest rated boot camp in Denver. Okay. I said I've never heard it. I'm not really that knowledgeable about which boot camps are good and which ones aren't so good. So I've never done a boot camp myself. So probably am not the best person to give advice. my advice in regard to boot camps usually centers around return on investment. So I do have a business degree, and so my mind works a little bit in that way, in that I would always be thinking, what are the chances of me getting a job? How much would it pay versus how much is this going to cost? Not only the upfront cost, but then the time, the opportunity cost, and how much time the boot camp is going to be versus how much you could make if you've just been working. So I would put that all into consideration, even assuming that it actually was a good boot camp. Okay, Paddle says Galvanize and Touring are also big in Denver, but they're 20K. Okay, so it looks like there is some discussions about some really old programming languages that I have at least heard the names of these languages. I know nothing about them though. So they're naming Lotus, Mosaic, Lynx. Okay, so Tyler did clarify what I thought. It was University of Minnesota. So yeah, I was wondering, but then it hit me that like I do like there are people from all over the world. So I'm assuming it's Minnesota, but maybe like it's some university in another country, and that I had just had never heard of. So I just wanted to clarify. Sandeep says, and actually this was a little while ago, so hopefully you're still watching. But Sandeep says, this is my first session. Do you think it'll be helpful for me? I'm okay to put extra effort to understand old sessions. And Grimgirl, so GRMNGURL, says, great question, Sandeep. I'm in the same boat as you. So hopefully you all are still watching. Sorry I didn't see this earlier, but I think that I hope at least that these can be helpful to people of all skill levels. Sometimes I go over topics that are a little bit more advanced. It just depends on what I need to work on that day. So on any given day, things might be a little bit more advanced than you might be used to. Or they might be like right at your level or even below it. So it just depends on what I'm working on. I try to have a mix of things. So I think like maybe 2 days ago we were just doing some basic CSS things, and it was the day we were doing the YouTube embed. So yeah, it just depends, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Either I'll try to get to them when I can, but then also there's so many people in the live chat that are really great at helping out and answering questions as well. Yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage you to, I don't know, just try it out and see. And if you find that the streams aren't really that helpful at all to you, then that's cool too. And feel free to suggest maybe some topics that would be more helpful to you, and I'll see if I could either work them into my live streams with what I'm doing, or maybe make another video, like a pre-recorded video on them at some point. Rohan said, everything I do would be 1/3 the time if I never made any mistakes. So this is right around the time when I was calling myself an idiot uh, for making silly mistakes. So Patrick had said, we all make silly mistakes. And Patrick also said, in response to Rohan, that goes very well with how I estimate. I break things down into small tasks, estimate, add them up together, multiply by 3. That's really good advice, actually. It seems like projects always take way longer than you would estimate because, well, for 2 reasons. One, things not working right the first time, silly mistakes, and then also scope creep. Which, I don't know if I said this yesterday, but this project is already going to be bigger than I thought. I got some information from a coworker about some extra stuff that needs to be in this project, so I'm expecting this to be more than what we originally thought. So I'm not exactly sure how much more or what it's going to be like, but it's going to be more. It might just end up being that we have a few extra views that we have to put in and some text content, and that's it. We'll see. Yasser says, hey Jesse, hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Okay, Patch. Alright, sorry, Pat. I didn't see this earlier, I guess. Patrick says, you should be hitting localhost 3000 now with the changes to the start script. Okay, so Patrick, should I be able to do all the form stuff on localhost 3000? I thought the form stuff would only work on the port 9000. Okay, let me try this then. So I do have 3000 open. Let me do a refresh. So let me let's make sure everything. Oh, okay. All right, so I'm getting this error, this CORS error uh, from localhost. So at least like it did look like okay, so if I use 3000, then I still get the hot reloading of everything in React, and then also the server. So I just need then to adjust the core stuff for this to work then. John B says, in regard to having a business degree, says, I started off doing business. It was too boring for me. Then moved into IT, network administration, and then ported over to computer science with concentration in networking and data communications. That's cool. Yeah, I was, I guess I liked business. When I was in school, I focused a lot on economics within the business department. So I did like economics. I'd thought about going on and getting like further degrees in economics, but then I didn't. I got married, and I promised my wife that she could get her master's degree while I worked, and so that was that. I never went back to try to get another degree after that. But I liked it. But I'll tell you what I didn't like. So, a lot of people with the business degrees go on to be a manager of a business. So I tried being an assistant manager, and I didn't really like that. I don't know. I didn't like that part of it. So I think the part of business that's more like um, I don't know. I guess it's not dealing directly with managing people, but the part that's dealing more with like numbers and trying to figure out like trends and things. I kind of like that a little bit better. Okay, so let's see. So anyway, Patrick's trying to tell me how to get rid of this CORS error. If I understand correctly, in here I need to do this, and then that will allow everything, right? The problem was it was only allowing things on port 9000. Guess there's an easy way to test it. Let's see if it... It's still getting that? Yeah, try that. No, it didn't work. Alright, keep an eye on the time. Okay. Maybe I could try... I got to the end of the chat in terms of the questions, so maybe I can take a couple more minutes and just try to get this working before we end the stream. Let's see. Would I have to change something in here then? Yeah, I guess it's... Okay, yeah, Kevin says I should need to... It should be something with this res header. What was the message? That's odd. It says no header is present on the requested resource. Oh, okay. Patrick's saying he read that people have trouble with CORS on Chrome while hitting localhost. And Nuclear Nick says there's a Chrome extension for this. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess I could try it on another browser quickly. Let's bring in Firefox. Okay, I didn't get an error in Firefox, so I mean this will at least this will let us know if it's just a Chrome thing that we need to work on. And let's see. Which one? Screenshot. Yeah, this is the file that we just sent, the screenshot. Oh wait, where did I go? Did I go to the wrong thing? Dang it, I did. Sorry about that. I went to 9,000. I was supposed to go to 3. So let's try that again. Alright, let's give it a different file. So what's this a screenshot of? Bunch of code? Okay. Okay, so it looks like I didn't get an error for that either. Let's see. Okay, cool. That worked. Alright, so now at least we know it's something with Chrome, so I'll just have to figure out what's going on. Okay, cool. So Nuclear Nick said it's allow control, allow origin is the extension's name for Chrome. It said I literally had this issue a few days ago and it was fine for dev environment. Okay, cool. Alright, Patrick, I see now you were telling me I typed the wrong thing in. Okay, I will check out the extension and see if we can get this working with Chrome. Okay, cool. Alright, yeah, I gotta wrap things up now. So, thanks. Thank you so much for watching and for helping out. Not bad. We accomplished pretty much like what we wanted to, at least kind of like the minimum that we wanted to today, in shorter than normal amount of time. Let's see. Oh, today's Friday. Okay, so I'll be back Monday. So have a great weekend. And I should be Monday might end up being an earlier stream as well. I'll have to see what's going on with meetings. Lately, Mondays have been kind of busy with meetings, so we'll see. So I'll let you know on Twitter about when I'm gonna stream sometime Monday morning. Anyway, until then, have a great weekend.